Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show. Welcome aboard. What a great day. I mean, it is a beautiful day in Dallas, and I got to tell you, we've got a very, very special guest today, but I'm going to make sure everybody knows my co-host Cedric White, he had a flat tire, so he's zooming in instead of sitting next to me, poking me saying, don't say that, or to do this, okay? Wait a minute, Chuck. You and I started this program way back in 2015, and you were the one poking me in the ribs saying...
I had to poke you in the ribs a lot.
Yeah.
Diane tried to throw me off the show. You came home so bruised.
I tell you what, it couldn't have been done better by a helicopter pilot, especially a Marine Corps one. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. The Marines are good guys. I know. We carted them around. For those of you who don't know that I'm kibitzing with my very close and dear friend Chuck Wright, Commissioner, Texas Veterans Commission, amazing veteran who does so much in this community for veterans. But just before we get started, I got to thank DBTV Network for carrying us around the world on DBTV. We're on Saturdays at 11. We're on, what? My wife's waving at me. What do you, you know what? It's great when your wife's your producer and she's waving and you're going, what? Okay. We're on DBTV Network on Saturdays at 11 and on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock in the evening. And I got to tell you, thank you for being on board with us. Share, enjoy, and have fun like we do in kibitzing around. Also, Cedric, Healing Thine Hearts Ministries, you do so much for marriage management, for taking care of veterans, and our little church is absolutely fabulous. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Symbiose for their sponsorship and their help, as well as Fairway Independent Mortgage. My MLS number is 311-548. We're an equal opportunity lender, and our doors are open during this shutdown. Now, to get down to the fun part, where we're not kidding around anymore, Chuck, you have done so much in the community. And one of the things you have been very involved with is the Dallas Resource Center, and you run their Gunny Golf Tournament. So please tell us a little bit about the Dallas Resource Center. You say it's the best kept secret in Dallas. I agree.
And unfortunately, that is not necessarily a good thing. It is the Veteran Resource Center, which is located at 4900 South Lancaster. They've been going on 10 years longer than we have, or this show has. They started back in 2004. They serve, on average, 1,200 to 1,500 unique veterans a year. Ken Waterston helped found it, although he claims he wasn't the only founder back then, but I still give him that credit. He's a Marine, Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart recipient who's also got a big heart for serving veterans. And 6 years ago now, we started the Arley Army Memorial Golf Tournament, and I guess we should have put the picture up of who Arley is, because a lot of people don't recognize the name, but he was Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket. And he was also probably the most prominent Marine of the last half century or more. Ever since Full Metal Jacket came out, he became a bit of an icon. But he was the one who kind of inspired a lot of this work, because he became very much an ambassador for the Marine Corps, but more importantly for our veterans. And he was a tireless supporter of our veterans. And we did the golf tournament to honor him. In fact, we actually formalized setting it up the night before his funeral. And I was honored to attend his funeral at Arlington National Cemetery, and that's where that kicked off. And we talked about it. This is what is so important to this. The Veteran Resource Center of Dallas does so much work for veterans, but unfortunately, it is not very well known. And I hate to say it, but sometimes I get a little irritated. You've got groups that are out there that want to call themselves veteran supporters that don't do anywhere near as much work. And I get it. Everybody has really good intentions. A lot of people want to help. But I question how effective a lot of these groups are. I don't have to question that when you're serving 12 to 1,500 unique veterans and their families a year. Excuse me. I was thinking about how many that was a month. So it's 100 to 125 a month. And they have 4 really key pillars. One of the ones that's, to me, the most fun is they run a completely free to veterans welding and forklift driving school. And some people may think about that and go, well, what's a big deal about that? Well, that walks a veteran out the door into a $20 to $25 an hour job. And now we're starting to get in it. We hear this all the time, making a living wage. When you start at $20 to $25 an hour, you're getting very close to that living wage level that you can sustain yourself. And the demand for skilled labor training is so high. Well, starting the welding school, which is done in conjunction with Dallas College, so it is a certified welding program, created the need for an employment center. And so one of the things they did was they started lining up employers who were looking for veterans to hire. And I'm kind of working this a little bit backwards to save kind of the original start to it for last. But one of the things they also do, in addition to employment services, is they do what they call veteran services. Some people call it peer services, and others will call it counseling services. But they help people get plugged into the VA. They help people discover what their benefits are, where to turn to get those benefits. And I say this is not just benefit for veterans, but for their families. And then all of this grew out of a program that is probably a little bit more well-known, but still not well-known enough, is Homeless Veteran Services of Dallas. And they created a day center for our homeless veterans. They started out by feeding them breakfast and lunch every day. They expanded and cleaned up shower facilities for them to use, laundry facilities for them to use. They have, we're getting close to the December homeless veteran. It's actually a citywide veteran or a homeless stand down. Obviously, HBSD focuses on the veterans as part of this, and that will be down at the convention center, and we'll get the date to you. But they do. And Jim, you remember this. My son Travis, for his Eagle Project, filled over 100 backpacks for our veterans with food, with clothing. Socks are incredibly popular. And Travis had the idea, and I got to share this story right quick because I'm obviously very proud of my Eagle Scout. But he had the idea towards the very end when we were about to start. He organized getting scouts together to stuff all the backpacks, and that was a lot of fun. But he said, you know what? Why don't we get them journals? So one of the companies that we worked with the golf tournament did these little journals that have got the elastic strap that closes them up, and it has the pen on the side of it. And we put them all on there. It was kind of the last item we added. And as we were actually doing, and we had about a dozen veterans that were in for, they had just wrapped up lunch, and we came in and we had given backpacks to each of them, and 2 of them found the journals and immediately started making notes.
Yeah.
Such an incredible opportunity. And, I was just kind of looking over and I looked at Travis and I said, you realize what you've done. Their journaling is a great way, and Cedric can probably talk about this even more. Jim dictates to Diane and she writes all of his stuff down. So he doesn't do much writing. Sorry, Jim, I had to take that shot.
Hey, she's gonna kick me under the table anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not? But just as part of this transition process, really proud of a lot of the things that the Homeless Veteran Services of Dallas did. But again, I talked about those 4 major pillars of the Veteran Resource Center. They are, in fact, a partner, and we'll get to Texas Veterans Commission in a minute, with the TVC. They are the beneficiary of both a golf outing, which is tremendous fun, and a clay shoot, which I have gotten really good reports on. I haven't been out there. I'm going out there to the next one to go out and turn some clays into dust. They'll probably turn into dust when they hit the ground when I miss them, but that's a whole other story, and we ain't talking about that today. But it is a great center. One of the things that we want to do in the next 12 months is make more and more people aware of everything that they are doing. So I appreciate being on you and Cedric's show and getting an opportunity to share, as I said, DFW's best kept secret. And I use the royal we, but we serve the 14 county DFW area primarily. Now, if you're listening to this and you're in East Texas and you're in the Panhandle, quite frankly, if you're in Northern California where DT, I'm going to let you do it. Yeah. And you need to give us a call. We will direct you in the right place to get services in your area. But obviously, they have served thousands and thousands of our veterans over the years. And again, too well kept a secret.
Jordan, let's pull up the Veterans Resource Center website so people can see it and know where to go. This is the Veterans Resource Center website, and there's all kinds of great things. So put down it's the website address. Take a look. It's really, really, really good. I tell you what, the guys that are coming out of that welding class, Chuck, from what you and Ken said, they're all getting hired. Yep. I didn't realize there's that much heavy industry here in Dallas.
Well, and I'll mention you had Rob Holmes, excuse me, from Forge Now on contagious. Recently, and they're working on a partnership where Forge Now is going to send their welding students down to Ken. But Ken's program is pretty full, and they're trying to figure out how to add another class so the classes now will overlap. Because pretty much they'll run a class. They've got about a week where they shut down just to kind of let the dust settle, and then they start another class up. But skilled labor training is absolutely a huge need. I'm quoting Mike Rowe here, but he is talking about the problem, and it's about to become a tidal wave of a problem. And quite frankly, Texas needs to get out in front of it. The whole nation needs to get out in front of it. This is one area where AI is not going to solve our problems.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
And one of the big things, Chuck, is forklift drivers. They teach and get certified as a forklift driver. A lot of people in the other parts of the world or parts of the United States may not know that Dallas is one of the biggest distribution centers in the world. I mean, it just seems like everything funnels up from the Gulf Coast through Dallas and then gets blown out from Dallas. It's really amazing when you see, and the DFW airport is part of that. So forklift drivers, we have so many warehouses. When you fly in over Dallas, you're like, wow. You don't really understand it. So that is a huge need. Now, one of the things that we had Forge Now, and Cedric, you commented there about how that really helps young people get a job, because it's not an education to be theoretical. It's an education to get you a job.
Yeah, it's actual hands-on.
Yes.
And as you said, Chuck, out the door, right? Quite often what we're seeing today, I know a lot of college grads and love them to death, but a lot of them, two things. Number one, they're saddled with the debt from their college education. Number two, they're not working in the area that they went to school for. They had to find a job in other things. And so I love what this is doing, because I go to school for it, right? I get assistance with job placement for it, right? And I'm making money right away, which is what's needed. And it's a skill. What you said was right on point, Chuck. AI will not be able to go on site to weld whatever is needed to be done.
Well, and this conversation that Rob Holmes and I have had, one of the things that he's being pushed for, Texas, so we are going to start building more ships for the Navy in the United States. We've really let our shipbuilding capacity fall off. We're starting to ramp it back up. Texas is going to get some of those building contracts. We don't have enough marine, I call it maritime, but I think the technical term is marine welders, which is kind of a specialty. And Forge Now is looking at creating a school. And Texas is getting more and more people moving in. We want to welcome them, absolutely. But the other thing we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure they can come here and become contributing members of society, that they're putting something back in, that they've got that sense of purpose that one gets from going to work, doing a job, getting a paycheck, being able to support themselves, being able to support their families. There is a dignity to this that unfortunately in America's cultural wars is getting lost.
Yes.
It's just getting lost.
So
and
true.
Why?
Okay, we're coming up on a break. We're going to have to take a break in just a second. And so what I want to say is go take a look at Veterans Resource Center for Dallas. But it's also a good prototype for what can be done in other places in the nation, helping the homeless, helping get jobs. So we'll be right back with these words after our partners. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation. Well, Cedric, you have seen in marriage management for the young men and women that go into the military, many of them married, a lot of problems. This is a chance to have another career, have something else using some of your military background. This is a really great thing. So what if I'm thinking about getting out of the military? Where's a good place to go?
Well, I love the fact that, again, this is a focused area, whereas a lot of graduates come out and it's sort of a generalized study with no specificity as to what the next steps are. One of the biggest questions that we get when we do our certification training is, okay, what's next? Well, what you have here is the training and then the job placement. And okay, we're not just, okay, you completed the training and now you're out on your own. No, this gives you a path to go with a set expectation and a way to, as Chuck said, become a contributing member of society. Yes, we welcome everybody here, but we want as you come prepared to work. And we want to help you to do that. That's what we're talking about in this training. So it's a very good thing, because one of the things in marriages, one of the biggest problems becomes finances. right? And so, but when I know I have a steady job, when I know I have employment, that removes some of the stress off of the family. So this is a great program, and I'm just looking at the site, the number of resources that are out there, Chuck. This is not just a little lightweight site here. People need to go out here and check this site out. There's a lot of not good, great information out there that they need to take a look at.
Now, Chuck, you mentioned a while ago that you do the Gunny Golf Tournament and they're doing the clay shoot. There is also a donate button because this is run by basically volunteers as well as people making donations. So the Veterans Resource Center needs the community's help as well. True?
Absolutely. And it's one of the things that we're trying to do with outreach. And if you want your money to go somewhere, we won't mention the organizations, but we don't have the budget to go out and run TV ads with country singers and celebrities and all that good stuff. If you want your dollars to go somewhere, they will make a direct impact. And I think we are running about 97% of every dollar comes in goes directly to veteran services. We always max out our numbers. As I mentioned, they are a partner with the Texas Veterans Commission, and we track very closely the number of veterans they serve versus the number of veterans they told us they were going to serve when they apply with grants for us. They always exceed by 20 to 30% the number of veterans they say they're going to serve. A very cost-effective way of doing business, a very cost-effective way of serving veterans.
Now, Chuck,
doing business, they're not doing business. Ain't nobody getting rich off the Veteran Resource Center.
Okay, and this is about 2 blocks away from the big Veterans Hospital in Dallas that has all kinds of resources there as well. But I think one of the most important things is, Chuck, I can't tell stories the way you can, but I have met many of these homeless that come in there. They don't want to be homeless. They're caught in a mess, and this is a way to help them to get out because you're giving them not only a chance to have a meal, but a chance to be clean, use a computer, do something.
Yeah, one of the next things that's coming at the Veteran Resource Center is we have a computer lab that's already set up. We are getting ready to, I think it'll happen at the next semester because we're working with Dallas College, and they're totally geared to the whole semester programs. We're going to start computer classes to do things like cyber training. But to go back to your point, this is very much set up to create a little bit of dignity for a veteran who has stumbled. We get a lot of veterans that are living in their cars or that are sleeping on the streets. And what we're trying to do is give them a hand up, not a handout. We're not just handing them money. We will feed them, but like you said, we'll give them a place to wash their clothes if they need more clothes. We've got a warehouse full of goodies that it's about to get wiped out when we have our veteran stand down. We pretty much get everything goes out. We share this with the city and county of Dallas. I believe it's a countywide stand down, but it really has a huge, huge impact. But as you said, most of our veterans are trying to change their situation in life. And I don't think we had the video on Lucky, and I'm not sure it's on the website, but it needs to be because it's a great video about a Navy veteran who was just a fabulous young man. But man, he had a bump in the road. Like a lot of these veterans, they had problems. He was having problems with alcohol abuse. We were able to guide him to people. We don't do that per se, but we can guide them to a place where he can do that. He got cleaned up, got his life together. It's the kind of success story we hear too little of, but it's because of programs like this. It's because of simple programs like anybody who's following me on Facebook or LinkedIn will see on the 11th of every month, it's Buddy Check Day. When you and I started the show over a decade ago now, the veteran suicide rate was at the famous 22 number a day. That number is now down to 17. Now, people still talk about 22 because you almost instantly associated it with veteran suicide, but we've gotten that down. And I say I'm talking about the entire veteran tribe that's out there. And we are a tribe. A lot of it we've driven down with awareness, with buddy checks. I'm sure Cedric can talk a lot about the psyche of someone who's about to commit suicide, or at least starting to think, making that part of that path.
Let me interrupt you, Chuck.
It's hard for some to understand, but making it acceptable in your world.
We need to go to a break, so let's do that real quick. We'll be right back after this break, and I'll continue that thought.
I don't care about paying bills.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, Chuck, I just stepped all over you, but we had to go to a break, so I'm sorry. I don't control that very well. But Chuck, you were talking about part of this program is great in terms of suicide prevention because it gives a person some dignity. It gives him a hand up, not a handout. Please continue the conversation, and I apologize for having to break in.
It's not, and I understand I'm used to hearing music, so I'm kind of spring-loaded to that. I didn't get any music, so I wasn't aware of what was going on. So that's my fault. But what I was going to say is, in the over 20 years the Veteran Resource Center has been operating, there's no telling how many people we have been able to prevent. As we were doing our small part to drive that 22 number down to 17, and I want to see it driven down so it's in the single digits. It would be beautiful if we could ever get it to 0. I don't know if that's possible. I'll defer to the experts on that one. As my friend Trey Gowdy would say, I'll defer to the experts. But every life that we save, that's a life that we're making a difference with. And it's amazing how many of these veterans that started to go down this path and came back have now become incredibly productive members of society. And I say that it doesn't mean you need a massive income, but we're talking about men and women who reconnect with their families. We're talking about men and women who go out and join a group like one of my favorites, Travis Manion Foundation, which does such great work in the community. Mission Continues, Team Rubicon, the Air Power Foundation that you've had on the show before, Heroes on the Water. Granted, kind of a fun thing to get out and do, but it's a great organization that once a month you're out in a kayak and you're fishing for catfish in Texas, or I don't know what they have down in Australia, but I know they have a chapter down in Australia.
Well,
it is the largest international kayak fishing organization in the world dedicated to supporting veterans.
You and I met Jim Dolan when he started that.
Yes.
And we promoted that way back then. What we did not realize at the time, because we were talking about, just like you said, this was a great fun thing to do. But what happened was we began to see guys brought out of their shell. Do you remember, you were with me, I think, when we went to Frito-Lay, had a big lake right behind Frito-Lay. And this lady comes up to Jim Dolan, and I think you and I are standing there, and she said,
"That's Katie."
Yeah, my husband hasn't smiled in 2 years. I had to drag him out of the house. And Dolan goes, "Which one?" He said, "He's the one laughing in that kayak that's hooked to fish, and the fish is dragging him all over the lake." And we were all laughing. The camaraderie of coming together. So I want to make another point that I think is real important. Coming together as veterans, because we speak a common language. we have common interests. Coming together just to have a lunch, coming together to be in a place like the Veterans Resource Center and some of the programs and the Gunny Golf. That is great. You have how many, 250 to 300 golfers come out for that deal?
This year's going to be a little smaller. The good news is we're upgrading the course. The bad news is it's a course that only has one course. So we're only going to have 150 golfers, ballpark, and probably another 40, 50 volunteers. But I promise you, this is one of the funnest golf tournaments going. For those who didn't know Arlie Ermy, and after shortly we'll get to know him a little better, he loved a couple of things in addition to his family. He absolutely loved golf. I call him a golfing degenerate, and that is defined by somebody who thinks a round of golf is 36. And if there's enough daylight, he'll go for 54, and he's done it. It's not unusual he played 54. He loved his cigars. So we're going to have hand-rolled custom cigars. And these are hand-rolled Nicaraguans. These are really good cigars out of the golf course. It's always a lot of fun. We have great food. We have great fun. We celebrate the legacy of Arlie Ermy. Our dear friend Don Graves, our 100-year-old Iwo Jima vet, will once again be out there and kick us off with God Bless America. Generally a lot of fun. But yes, once again, Jim, you weren't there this year.
No, we had another deal that we had to do.
I can't believe you had something that was more important than gunny golf, but I was going to tell this story. So at my last squadron reunion that I didn't get to make, we were based in Hawaii. So Hawaiian shirts were kind of that was fashionable in Hawaii. You didn't just wear them to be silly, but they had bright red Hawaiian shirts done up for the squadron, custom made. And so we had one foursome all done up. They all showed up in uniform. And then I was out there in because one of my neighbors and good buddy of mine I met in the squadron, picked me up one. And so we were all out there sporting our uniform of the day, and it was just great. And it's just the kind of fun that you have. And everybody else had a blast with it too. But it's these kind of events is, as you said, bringing people together, bringing our veterans together to create healing, to create hope, to find the resources they need to take that next step. And I think in the next section, we're going to talk about my quasi day job as commissioner. And I'm really appreciative that the Veteran Resource Center has become one of our partners.
It's really important. So let's go ahead, because we're in the third segment, to talk about what you do with TVC and how you got there, because you were on the benefits board and you really learned a lot about grants, things like that. So where I'm going with this is you are now a commissioner and you are a resource for so many people. It's really great. So tell us about how you got started with TVC and what you're doing now.
I had spent 8 years on one of the committees and had applied a couple of times to be the commissioner, which is a governor's appointment. And in 2024, I got a phone call very, very early in the year that said, "Are you still interested?" And I jumped at the chance to do this. I now represent the governor mostly in North Texas, kind of working all the way from the Sabine River in East Texas all the way out to, I've gone out as far as Lubbock. So it has been a real honor to get out and be able to talk to people. And so it's kind of one of my asks before I jump into all the things we do. But if you have a company that has a veteran resource group, if you are a government entity like a county or a city, I am happy to come out and talk about the resources that are available. And let me jump into that real fast. TVC has 9 different areas that it works in, and I'm not going to go through every one of them because we'll be here for another hour. I would need another hour.
Well, we'll do that later. What, right, Cedric?
Yeah, we'll do that in another show. But I want to make it really simple. If you are a veteran and you can hear my voice, and I'm gonna pivot to this anywhere in the country too. But if you're in Texas, you have a need, reach out to us at info, INFO, at TVC, the letters TVC, Tango Victor Charlie, .texas spelled out, .gov. Give us a short narrative on what you need. Do you need claims help? There's our website. Go to our website. Scroll through it. You can see how much information is there. There's a wealth of information.
The
But
Hazelwood
great
Act.
place to start, info at tvc.texas.gov, and we can start to direct you in the right place. Now, if you're not in the state of Texas and you need access to your, so every state has an agency like mine. You can go to their website, is the National Association of State Veteran Agencies. So it's NASVA. .org. And they just had their national meeting. And you know what? Like John Wayne said, if you can do it, you ain't bragging. And I can claim Texas runs the finest veteran agency in the country. But I tell you, there's a lot of states working to catch up to us. Georgia, Florida, Virginia, California all leap to mind. And they aren't the only ones. So we're hardly alone, but if you need to know who to connect with, our people are happy to respond to your email and we'll put you directly in touch, or you can go to that website. They have a directory. That is one of the best places to start. Now in Texas, let me give you the other one, because I know in Texas, all of our counties have a county veteran service officer. Look up your county veteran service officer. Go to the county site, or just look up, for example, I'm in Denton County, blessed with one of the finest veteran service officers in the state, but just go to Denton County Veteran Service Officer, Tarrant County Veteran Service Officer, another great place to work. And we backstop a lot of these organizations. If you're in Texas, you may or may not have heard of the Texas Veterans Network yet. One of our absolute strongest partners. You'll find them at job fairs. You'll find them at events. They bragged about the fact they sent us 1,700 cases last year. I challenged my Marine friend, Mia Garcia, who runs the Texas Veterans Network. Hey, we need 2,500 cases this year. We need to grow. So help us grow by sending us cases to work on, showing us ways that we can help you. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, and it is very, very timely. And as I understand it, you're going to talk here in just a second about a breakfast. Speaking of lunch and dinner, we're going to talk about a breakfast coming up on November 11th. But we have a lot of job fairs. It's called Red, White, and You. These are done with our partners at the Texas Workforce Commission. Google Red, White, and You and find one in your area. I'm going to be at about 5 or 6 of them. So come find the TVC table and say, hey, where's the commissioner? He said to come meet him. I'll be somewhere in the building. I float around. I know you're going to be shocked to hear this. I like to talk. I like to talk to people. I like to go find our veterans and track them down.
And you like to cut up and do crazy things as well. Let's stop for just a second and talk about Cedric. You have really worked hard to help and put this together. So let's talk about it real quick, because it is to benefit veterans. And it's basically, we're not charging anything. If somebody wants to make a donation, great. It will go to help the Healing Thine Hearts, the marriage management. But tell us a little bit about what we've got going on.
Well, we're looking forward to providing what is our staple for the Veterans Impact Show, right? Help, hope, and healing. We want to provide resources, and I'm loving what I hear Chuck say, and I'm hoping that, shameless plug here, request, hoping that Chuck has a table at our event on the 11th.
I've already taken care of it. Yes.
Outstanding. So what our heart is to provide resources for our veterans right there on the spot. Again, one of the biggest things that's been talked about today is that peer-to-peer healing that happens when we come together as veterans, right? Quite often, getting that number from 22 down to 17, down to 16 is simply a matter of engagement, right? Getting that vet to stop being isolated, stop being by themselves, and let them know, hey, there's some help. There's a myriad of resources. Sometimes all it takes is what Chuck said, right? Not giving a handout. You don't have to worry. It's not a pride issue. We're just trying to give you a hand up, right? We used to sing an old song, don't look down on a man unless you're picking him up, unless you're helping him up. That's our mindset here. So we want to be a place where we can bring veterans. We want to feed you. We want to have a good time. We're going to have Captain Dave Carey there. Captain Dave Carey, who's a friend of yours, Jim, who actually a Vietnam veteran,
POW.
prisoner of war. That's what I want to say. He was a prisoner of war. And when we're talking about walking through the fire, this is a guy I deal with relational fires with marriages and relationships and families. Dr. Dee Dee Ashmore, she's going to be talking about walking through fire, dealing from a health perspective and the things that veterans deal with. But Captain Carey is going to be able to share with us some experiences that he's had, literally having been a person who's been a POW and walked through fire. So it's going to be a very exciting event. And then closing us out is going to be the matriarch of the Hope Center, June Hunt, who has done a lot in the way of working with vets, supports veteran institutions and organizations. And we're just excited to have you there. 8:30 on November the 11th, Veterans Day at the Hope Center in Plano.
And if you want to go with Chuck to another 5 or 6 events after you have breakfast,
there you go.
Just go. Here's the big thing. Getting together, being together, that's what's really important. But Dave Carey has actually been through a fire, and we have the video of the Oriskany fire. You guys didn't know that, but we're going to play that video where he's coming out of the smoke in the Oriskany fire. And that fire on the USS Oriskany in 1966 killed 46 people. Pretty horrible situation. My squadron came through that. Dave Carey and I are squadron mates. His story about being a POW, and so he's going to bring his books. He's written a great book, The Ways We Choose. He is a motivational speaker. He has talked to companies all over the world. Matter of fact, he's going to come into Dallas, going to do an event, then do our event, then go back to Georgetown and do events in Austin. This is an honor to have him. So we're going to take a break right now, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about what TVC can do for you, as well as what marriage management has done for so many people. Diane and I went through the program. We thought it was fabulous. And I got to tell you, this is your Veterans Impact Show. We're here for you. Please share us. Please put up with us when we kick around and have fun. It's all about helping to lift everybody up and what we can do to be a part of the Veterans Impact Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Guys, this is great. We're going to wrap this thing up, bring it back into the dock. Chuck, what are some of the final things you'd want to say to somebody about the Resource Center and the partnership with TVC?
So I'll start with TVC because I'd like to restate our email address. Sorry, I wanted to say website. The website is TexasVeteransCommission.org or .gov. But the info at TVC.texas.gov is a great way to start to find, and I've said this before, when a veteran, when someone leaves the military, it might be 6 weeks, it might be 6 months, it might be 6 years. But eventually, like a prairie dog, they pop their head out of the hole. They start looking around and go, wait a minute, where's all these great benefits I was promised? Where's my community? I've kind of lost touch. I've had my head down, going to school, working a job, whatever it is, surfing on the beaches of Malibu, wherever your life is taking you. This is where you can start. Now, I'm going to dovetail that right into, if you're in the North Texas area, this is a great way to reach out to the Veteran Resource Center. As I said, they're one of our partners. Depending on what your needs are, they very well may be plugging you directly in to us. So all roads lead to Rome, which is something that I'm going to work on and I want to see happen in Texas. We are the single best place to start for a veteran to find his resources. I'm going to run down some of the list right quick. TVC works directly on claims, benefits from the VA. Most people don't realize the VA has different departments. One thing that most that have dealt with the VA realize, those departments don't talk to each other. So one of the things that we can do is to help you navigate that. Another one of the most powerful things that we do is we advocate for you if you are trying to get VA help or VA appointments, help getting an appointment to what it is that you need. We actually have a TVC employee in every VA hospital and clinic in the state of Texas. But again, reach out to us at that info number. I can't begin to tell you how many, in the 2 years I've been doing this, how many veterans simply needed that help that weren't talking to the right people. We do both the Hazelwood program in Texas as well as monitoring the GI Bill program. We can help and do advocacy work with all of those. We now run the Veterans MVPN, which is the Military Veteran Peer Network. I always screw that up. We have those in every county of the state. We backstop our county veteran service officers. I haven't even gotten into talking about the Fund for Veteran Assistance. That's how we provide grant money for organizations, nonprofits that serve our veterans. Not going to go down that path. I spent 8 years on that committee. It's an absolute passion of mine. And the one thing I want to mention to any veteran out there right now who's looking at for job employment help, Google Red, White, NU. Come join us. We're having these, I think there are 36 different events around the state in the month of November. So obviously some of them overlap, but if you're in the Valley, you're not coming to Dallas and vice versa for employment help. But there will be somebody near you. Come out, visit with us. And if you're in North Texas, come by the TVC table and tell them, hey, where's the commissioner? I want to meet him.
Hey, I tell you what, it's going to be real easy to do that because just look for the guy who's shooting the breeze with him and hugging everybody. I mean, he is amazing. I got to tell you, thank you for being on board, but thank you for really starting this program when it was Alliance for the Brave. We have had a mission to serve. We've had a mission to showcase people. We've had a mission to get the information out. Now we have a mission to help with hope. To help, hope, healing. Thank you. Everybody's talking to me. So thank you. Help, hope, and healing. We're here for you. Chuck, in one word, if you had to do it all over again, would you become a helicopter pilot in the Marine Corps? That was.
I'm sorry. Is this a trick question? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because it's life-changing. It does for you what nothing else in the world can do. It not only prepares you for life, but it gives you a passion and an excellence. And I will tell you real quickly that when you and I got started and I joined this program, I didn't realize the need and I didn't realize who I was as a veteran because I'd kept it quiet for 20 some odd, 30 years. So I appreciate you helping me to come out of my shell to be able to help others to heal. And I have taken people into my home, tried to help them. It's all about what we can do for one another, because if veterans lead the way, if we lead the way in suicide prevention, if we lead the way in effective employment, it will change this nation. It has in the past, and it will in the future. So I want to say thank you so much, Chuck, for all you do. Thank you, Cedric, for all you do in saving marriages, saving lives. It is a blessing to know you and a blessing to be part of your church. And if you don't know, go to Healing Thine Hearts, and that's healingthinehearts.org. You're going to be able to see our church. All right, I got to say very quickly, it's time for a prayer. So Cedric, would you pray us out?
Be glad to. Father, in your name, thank you for this day, this time, people like Chuck that want to help your people, help veterans. And Lord, we ask that the resources would continue to come, that people would just reach out and grab a hand, grab the assistance that's needed. And would you be glorified, let your people be served, and let it continue to bless others. This is our prayer as you bring this country back to being one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, we're here for you. Join Cedric and I on November the 11th. Chuck will be there. The commissioner will be there. I'll point him out. he'll probably not have much time to eat breakfast, but we're going to have a great day. We want you to be a part of it. Please go to veteransimpactshow.com. Take a look. Please share this. Please be a part. Help us to get the word out. And thank you to our networks. This is your Veterans Impact Show.